Welcome back. And our guest is on set, Mr. Curtis Douglas. He's president of the All Fisherfolk Tobago. And of course, we do have a very threatening situation, and we want to get a feedback from the fisherfolk here in Tobago. Obviously, tanks or vessels that are intending to cause danger, and we've seen what happened to one vessel suspected to be carrying narcotics, according to the reports, and that vessel was blown out of the water, Mr. Douglas. From a fisherfolk standpoint, how, and of course we had the Minister of, Mr. Sebro, Foreign Affairs Minister, saying that fishermen have nothing to worry about. Is he correct in that statement, given what we saw that happened and the potential of, or the danger that fishermen may face, let's say that they are fishing within that vicinity?
Well, good morning to the listening public and to the viewing public and to our loyal followers on Facebook and YouTube, Good morning. As we jump straight into it, Brother B, and to the wider listening public, it's okay. I don't know on what intel the minister is speaking of. Probably you have some intel that I haven't seen or know about. But what I could say to the people of Tobago and Trinidad, but more so Tobago, this thing is not a joke, and it's serious. While we sit back preparing for Carnival and preparing for wine and jam, it's a great possibility from the eagle's eyes that I'm sitting that this straw can break the back of the camel, and we are not prepared, and we do not have a plan for that when it happens. When that happens, it clearly means fishermen cannot go to sea anymore. How do they feed their family? How do we protect food security? Quite clearly, we might have to start to be eating canned tuna coming from Canada. Okay? So when everybody's saying sit back and it's okay, from what I'm seeing, it is not a sit back and okay. And as the president of all Tobago Fisherfolk and as a citizen of Tobago, of the Republic of Tobago and Trinidad, I'm here to tell you all, it is not smooth sailing as they say it is. This is a very serious situation. Quite clearly, you would be, just now, if this should escalate, you will find bodies washing ashore Tobago. As we see Saturday, that same drugs boat wash ashore in Tobago waters. But I want to let everybody know, right? This drug trade and the arms trade and the smuggling is real and it's serious and it's true. I've been advocating for this for over 10 years.
All right. So let's separate the two. You want the presence or some intervention to deal with the drug trade and the gun trade and all of that, and that is welcoming. However, the possibility that, and how do we differentiate the fisherman, the real fisherman, as opposed to the fella who going out there to pose as a fisherman, and the real fisherman may get in thing, as opposed to the fella who might get away doing illegal thing out there? How do we differentiate? How do we identify the fisherman? Is there something that you have to have on your boat? Mr. Douglas, these are serious times. We could lose our fishermen under the guise that they may be carrying thing and they're not carrying anything at all. Well, let's speak to that. How do you intend to ensure that the fishermen who are real on the waters are protected and safely given whatever brand of whatever you want to use to identify them, so that the world know that these are Tobago fishermen?
Brother B, the drug trade is a very intelligent and multifaceted and multi-billion-dollar industry. If we ought to start to mention this, it will easily be duplicated. For example, those boats, recently they stole a boat from up Belgarden. We saw that boat on Venezuelan national channel, said the seized boat with guns and ammunition. Those are Venezuelan with TFT.
Wow.
That is our logo in Tobago. That's our registration. Although the high seas have a different number, but TFT is to let you know that, you understand, this boat is from Trinidad. More so, this boat is from Tobago. And there's nothing from them because they're using the same period. These are the same people that comes into our waters, been stealing engines in Plymouth, in Belgarden, all over. And more so now, we would have seen where they arm their citizens. And everybody knows a walk in a park to come in Trinidad and Tobago. So I'm saying it is very difficult. That comes with the authorities, preferable, the chief secretary and the prime minister, and the sitting down with ATFA and some of the fishing community and discussing and coming up with a plan. Because no matter how good or sophisticated your technology is, people, innocent people, can die. If you look at Israel, sometimes they say they fire over terrorists. Next thing you see is media houses they're killing, people in hospital, children. So no matter what you do, right, it is a great possibility, or you run that risk of innocent people dying. And I do not want any fisher folk, any member of Tobagonian or Tobagonian to die based or a casualty or a thing. I don't want that, because that is a family of mine.
Mr. Douglas, so we looking at a case of possible mistaken identity.
Correct.
In terms of, one, the collaboration between the Tobago All Fisher Folk and I'm not sure what's the Fisher Folk group, because I know we have different groups in Trinidad. Is there a meeting brewing or pending? Because, I mean, naturally, all fisher folks, I know we would speak about what is happening in Tobago, but naturally, there may be some sort of unique or some sort of collective strategy or strategies that you all may want to present to the government once that meeting is held.
How it's supposed to work, right, is basically the chief secretary needs to come out to give the fisher folk some form of reassurance in Tobago. After that is done, you seek to have this meeting that we are calling for with the Tobago diaspora, with the Tobago fisher folk, the Tobago fisher folk with the business community, because this will have a serious effect, not only on fisher folk, but each and every Tobagonian that lives or reside in Tobago. It will be affecting them. So you need to have that collaborative meeting, and we must come up with an emergency plan. We must have a plan in place in the event that this should escalate, because I'm quite clearly, when you look at BBC and some of the news and Mr. Trump, he said if they fire next X-15, shoot them down. Make no mistake. So that is war we are talking about. That is war. And all the debris and dead bodies will wash up in Tobago. How do we mitigate that? How do we take care of that? That comes where the fisher folks comes in to help to ensure, because you know, is it you in Pigeon Point or Story taking a nice little soak and you feel something hit you and when you check it is a dead body. These things are possible given how the current is run from where these things is taking place, the so-called high seas.
Are the fishermen hesitant to go out at sea?
Well, right now, as I said, the sun is screaming. It's screaming concern. Meaning the fisher folk, it's concern. Because wives are calling me, Mr. Douglas, it's okay for my husband to go out. He's going out early in the morning and coming in late in the night. They're seeing people that's getting targeted and destroyed. So they must be concerned. They are great concern. But you know what? As we always say, sometimes they say, God is a training, but no, God is a Tobagonian. So we sit back and let everything happen. We're living in a very proactive society. We need to get active, and we need to act and act now.
All right, what do you want? All right, so this matter needs to be spoken to and treated with. What do you recommend to give fishermen? Of course, let me ask about the parameters in which the Tobago fishermen operate.
Yeah.
We know that, let's say, Block 22 is out there.
Yeah.
That's in the Tobago waters.
Yeah, that's outside of Castara.
Right. And let me ask, the fishermen from Tobago or fishermen go outside of that? And what would you recommend now that this possible threat can escalate given the presence of those vessels out there that are intending to attack Venezuela? However, we saw what happened with this vessel and so on. What advice do you give to your fishermen now? Where are the parameters? Do you tell them to go beyond Block 22, make the circle there and see what fish you catch and come home? Or do you just allow them? What advice do you give your fishermen presently? And we'll come to what should be done to ensure from the state, the chief secretary and maybe the Minister of
Foreign
Well,
affairs,
national security, matters of national security, it doesn't necessarily fall under the THA, by the way. So.
No, well, what I'm saying, it must be a collaborative
But
effort.
just to get back, what do you advise do you give to your fishermen presently in treating with the parameters that they should maintain?
Well, basically, I've been echoing this sentiment. So, one, try to limit the time you go at sea, right? Meaning that normally they go early in the morning, like sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning. These guys are really working hard, and sometimes they come back all 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the night, right? So I'm saying all like 7, 7:30, 8 o'clock is reasonable time to try to make it. I know it might cut down on the yield because now they are going further, meaning that I'm trying to tell them as well, try to stay within the perimeter of probably 30 to 35 miles, right? Try not to exceed that, right? But you see what happened, the reason why they have to exceed that is because a lot of energy development in the sea, so they have to go further, it run the fish after surveys and stuff like that. So they have to go further, stay longer, means spend more time in sea. So I'm trying to encourage them not to go thus far and try the best, although it's very difficult to communicate. So I'm asking them all to at least see how best they could get sat phones so that they could communicate with their loved ones home and stuff like that. So it would evaluate or give them a sense of comfort to know that they are safe, right? So my advice is to them to watch where you're going, be very vigilant. Anything you see that look suspicious, please report it to the relevant authorities. And that is the role and function of ADFA, seeking the interests of the people of Tobago and also Trinidad. So, because sometimes a lot of guys go to the rigs, right? These oil rigs, these fires you see outside, they go to the rigs and they spend overnight. So I'm saying when you got a sat phone, you could communicate. Because when you go to the rig and you're day and the night, you really don't communicate with your family because some of them don't have. So I'm encouraging, that's what I'm saying, a strategic plan must be worked out where we should be able to monitor each and every fisher.
Let's go now for state protection.
Yes.
And by that I mean the apparatus and the services of maybe Coast Guard or whoever else is to ensure, because we can't take a chance and say, okay, them fellas would be safe out there.
No.
Given what we saw happen.
Yes.
What do you want to hear? Or are you seeking a meeting with the Chief Secretary, ADFA that is, or the Minister of or Foreign Affairs or whoever is responsible to ensure safety at sea, and not just the Tobago fishermen, those fishermen in Trinidad that can stray a little bit over in Venezuela, but the next thing you know, they have been targeted as drug pushers and so on. The conversation is a national one.
Yes.
And what do you intend to do going forward with, where do you intend to take this? Seeking a conversation with the Chief Sec and, of course, Minister of
Foreign Affairs or the Prime Minister. No, let me just say this to just educate a lot of people. Normally, the Trinidad Aryan fisherfolk and they go out 10 miles, right? Now you find they're going 3 miles, 4 miles. That's to tell you how serious it is.
And it's 10 miles south?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
10. They're not crossing 3 miles because they're scared. Now, as you see, Venezuela would have armed their fisherfolk. We don't carry arms. We don't carry arms. And it's quite easily, we can get mistaken for a Venezuelan person. Or they could infiltrate us. Right? So what we need to do, there must be, as I said, the first step is that the Chief Secretary must not be silent on this issue. He is the Chief of Tobago or the Premier of Tobago. And everyone knows, even Ronald Reagan, lead from the front. You must lead from the front. So when we have that conversation, even though we are not sitting at the table with the Prime Minister or with the Minister of Homeland or National Security, our excrement must be echoed on the floor, because my concern is my people, the people of Tobago, and we must start to pay attention and stop being lackadaisical when things like this are happening and saying, oh, this is happening here. It is right. It is not right outside our backyard, you know. It is inside our yard. The boat that was destroyed was 10 to 11 miles outside of Charlottesville. sisters. That means you could sit down in your house. And if it was floating, and you'd see it quite clearly without a binoculars. That's to tell you how close it is. And if it is that this is taking place, why should we take this as a warning and prepared? We must stop being lackadaisical, because you know what? Everybody preparing for Carnival, as I said. It is a great possibility this cannot come off because of this. Because of this. But no one is speaking about it. No one is knowing about it. But I find it is my duty as the president of all Tobago Fisherfolk, from what I am seeing, to inform the society, to inform the government, to inform the people of Tobago, and to inform everyone what is taking place, and it is not a joke.
Mr. Douglas, is there quickly a particular hotspot that the fisher folk is being advised not to enter?
It is very difficult to say it is a hotspot, right? The hotspot is try to mitigate the distance in which you go.
Okay.
Right? The distance, because what happened?
But at different days may have different zones, I'm assuming, yeah?
No. You have no zone in fishing. You only have in Trinidad. Tobago is a small community, right? So it's easy for a man from Charlottesville, from Speyside, for Palatavere. And I must congratulate these guys from Palatavere who have a keen eye and an observation in the sea, what is taking place around them. Kudos to the people of Palatavere. Kudos to the fisher folks in Plymouth. And kudos to the fisher folks in Cologne as well, that is minding their business. Yeah? Minding their business. Now, when you say a spot, right? When you drop fads, right? Obviously in the high seas, you go in and catch because you're leaving home with the intention that this is attracting these fish and you go in and catch. You're not going to look for nothing. But also, it have other people who doing other things. But I just want to get this in before I close. Right? I just want to get it in. Brother B, fisher folk up in Bell Garden, right? And on the west, was being chased away by Venezuela in the waters of Tobago. Was being chased. You know, is it you in your house? And a street dog come to run you from your house? That is what was being taking place. And what make it that so dangerous? Fisher folk do not carry arms.
We talking recently, Mr. Douglas?
Recently? Listen, the boat I'm speaking about where they stole from the garden from Mr. Bigot is recently, you know. Plymouth have succumbed to all of these engines. I was on this show explaining why this engine was being stolen. Who you feel stealing them? Where you feel it going?
Forgive my ignorance, but who treats with... I mean, naturally the police, but the Marine, who deals with in terms of the investigation of these kind of situations?
I think you might have to ask the Minister of National Security. Because I really can't say anything. But what I'm saying, we need a collaborative effort more so now with the police, with the Coast Guard. This is no longer a solo attribute or a solo event. This is a need to be collaborated.
Let me ask you, earlier you talked about having cell phones and so on. Are the fishermen equipped with all the necessary safety apparatus on the seas in the event that they have to report? They may not, the phone might be one thing, but there is the
satellite.
Yes, something that you communicate, all both are hearing at the same time. I don't know what you call it.
No, I mean, VHS, you're talking about these VHS radios.
But channel 16 or something?
Yeah, that limits us the distance we go. That's why
it does not cover any, if you go to...
Will be from the time you pass 10 miles with that started to flop.
Oh my God.
So what is the recommended?
That's the reason why I said satellite phones are very important to a fisher folk going on his daily working day to achieve his family, right? You see satellite phones, it gives you global positioning. It picks you up. So when you call, I could find your global positioning, right? And I could communicate.
Is it available to fishermen?
It is. Satellite phones are available.
And do our fishermen have that at the
Some have it and some don't.
So they personally buy it?
You have to personally buy it.
Oh, it's a personal thing. But and that is where we need to get to, because you see what is important, Mr. Douglas, is that in the event of anything, the communication apparatus must be at a maximum operation so that we know, just like you said, a person call you could see them and find them. That needs to be sorted out. I would hope when you have your conversation with the Chief Secretary and so on, every fisher person or individual who goes out is equipped with all the necessary safety apparatus. What else are they lacking that they don't have presently?
Brother B, they need two things, two important things. I don't know how they can do it. Now, you could start up a pilot project by putting these two things on your board. Right? One, it's called a tracking device. Mm-hmm. You need a tracking device. That tracking device will determine and will give the wider public, not even the wider public, will give a sense where you are. Mm-hmm. So when you leave in the morning, we could track you from where you leave, from where you are. Mm-hmm. So if we see that this disappear, we know something is definitely wrong with that tracking device. Okay. And obviously, communication with the satellite phone. Exactly. But a tracking device
is critical.
Is pertinent.
Okay. How do we get the tracking device and how do we make it part of the fisherfolk apparatus while at sea? Right.
The tracking device could come under this. You could start a pilot project under the Office of the Prime Minister or the THA, right? Mm-hmm. Whereby you start to ensure, and ATFA will oversee the entire project to ensure that each vessel that leaves that port can be tracked and observed over in this time. So we will know how far you are, how long you are, and if they even a panic button. When that panic, we could leave from where you are, tell the Coast Guard, and they could walk and go straight to you and collect you and rescue you.
Excellent.
Are fishermen supposed to be members of the Old Fisherfolk? Because I mean, naturally, when you speak on behalf of the Old Tobago Fisherfolk, there will be certain, I guess, benefits that members would benefit from. What is the arrangement in terms of fisher? Because I mean, if I buy a boat and I decide I want to start fishing in the morning, I'm my own. That's my private thing.
Right.
How is it currently in terms of the membership and facilitating fisherfolk who would want to be part of?
No, we are living in an unstructured and a broken society. As you clearly said, nothing is stopping you from going and build a boat and operate it. But if what we were fighting for, that there should be some form of registration fee. When you buy a car, you have to have insurance. Right. So ATFA, All Tobago Fisherfolk, is a form of insurance. But obviously you have to pay your dues. And for some reason, nothing is put in place for that. Nothing is put. But you know what? When anything happens, for example, you should get an accident, who do you call? The Ghostbusters? No. You call ATFA because you tell yourself these are the people. But you are not complying, right? In accordance, because there is no proper structure coming from the government to the small man. Yeah? Okay. And these are things that we need to look at.
Mr. Douglas, in closing, your plea to the government in treating with all the needs, all that you need for your fishermen to be safe out there at sea. You spoke about the satellite phone. You also spoke about the tracking device. And these apparatus are critical for our safety of fisherfolk at sea. In closing.
Well, basically, we are calling upon the government of Trinidad and Tobago and the Chief Secretary as such in a very respectable and, manner. If we need to make that change needs to come now. Today is America. Tomorrow, we don't know who it could be. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying to you all, we need tracking device on each and every fisherfolk boat, and this must be spearheaded by the All Tobago Fisherfolk. And any fisherman who refuses to sign up with the program, we know they have some form of ill intention, and it must also come with some form of penalty if you do not register and sign up to be in a structured organization, so the government and the people can monitor the safety of the people and help save our resources. And three, we have a storm, it's on the way. A storm, it's on the way. And we must not be naive, and we must not be silly. we must pay attention to what is taking place. But even though that storm is coming, we must also be prepared. Our children must be prepared, our parents, every individual and Tobagonian must be prepared. When you look abroad and see when they're preparing for things, it's the whole community. We must adapt that Tobago-ness, that love, and prepare for that storm. So I'm saying to the people of the fisherfolk, stay within your boundaries. Please, please stay within your boundaries, and may God protect
all of us.
Tobago.
All right, and just for clarity, the storm he's talking about is a possibility of the escalation of the tension between the United States and Venezuela with the vessels, the submarines that are there that can possibly escalate at any time. And so thank you for your caution. Thank you for being here.